So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your KITS Webinar Wednesday. My name is Franklin. I'm the Product App Specialist for KITS and your webinar host. So last week's webinar was a great success as we had many suggestions and comments about creating a dynamic sales presentation. Now, just in case you missed the webinar or had to leave early, the video is available by visiting our KITS Knowledge Center by clicking on the webinar tab. So visit our KC to review some helpful content and to watch available webinar recordings. So it's really great to see our KITS community participating every week as we show you the tips and tricks in KITS you need to know to becoming that supercharged power user. So a big thank you to our KITS community. So today we'll be demonstrating the DWG and SIF import feature. So Julia, what's on the agenda for our community today?
All right, so we're going to be going over the following: AutoCAD DWG import requirements, also importing to KITS Web, and lastly, publishing that project that you imported into KITS Mobile. But before we begin, let's first start off with the 5 import requirements that your file must meet before you import. So it must be authored using either 2020 CAP, Giza, Project Matrix, Z-Axis, or CT Designer. It has to contain no more than 1,500 furniture items. Non-furniture items like those CAD-drawn elements will not be imported, and they do not count against that cap. It also needs to have a drawing area no larger than 100 feet by 100 feet. It also does not contain items specified with structural options. However, these items may import, but they may not reflect the intended structural option selected. And lastly, only items specified in model space will be imported. So we also have a PDF handout that's attached on the GoToWebinar control panel that you can download that also has all these requirements for your files that you can refer back to later on.
All right, thanks again, Julia. So now, if you don't tinker with CAD or really don't use any of the required authoring spec tools that Julia just mentioned, you can always share this information with your design team. And if they have any questions, they can easily contact myself or KITS support, and we can easily go through the steps for them to actually assist you with importing the DWG file that they create in one of the authored programs for you to use on your KITS collaborator on your iPad. Okay? So all right, let's begin with our CAP design author DWG files. So what you basically see here is the author DWG that was created by, let's say, myself or a design team. The one thing that you should really understand about a CAP design or a CAP authored or one of these authored spec tool files is that they carry what we call as attributable information. This information is carried forward with the actual model or specific item that we're looking at, that actually tells KITS which manufacturer it is, what catalog it's from, what it is, so that it can actually populate those same characteristics in KITS. So if I just click on this chair here, and I'm going to right-click, you can see here I have this option to see Edit Attributes. This is really for me to take a look at the attributes that are associated with this particular model. So you can see here we have our CAP attributes. These tags are specific tags that are created for CAP design, so that it gets populated in when you use 2020 or even when you use KITS, it recognizes those same attributes. What this carries is basically the model identification, catalog information, and anything that's enough for it to actually populate. Now, the one thing that CAP doesn't actually carry, and for all you Project Matrix users out there, this is actually an important thing for you to understand as well, is that CAP actually doesn't carry the specified specifications in their attribute information. However, Project Matrix does, so that when you actually import the DWG file that's created in CAP into KITS, what it does is it allows the KITS to populate the actual 3D model, but it doesn't carry any of the information, the specifications, nor the pricing that's been changed for that particular project. That is why it is important that you import the DWG file accompanied with the SIF file that was created with the specifications, with the pricing, whenever you're using CAP. Now for Project Matrix has a tag that actually carries that specification information, so that when you actually take a Project Matrix file and import it into KITS, it actually imports directly fully specified. Okay, so that's the important thing here that everybody needs to understand regarding the models that are used for KITS. So we share the same information that that CAP design or 2020 uses. There's no difference in what we have compared to what is there, so that kits can talk to all these different programs when you need to take that exported file and import it into the specific spec tool that you use. Okay, as long as it's one of the authoring required spec tools that Julia had mentioned, then you'll get that seamless conversation between the two programs. Okay, so let's close this up. And as you can see here, we have a wonderful 3D layout. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to import two variations of this project. I'm going to import the AutoCAD file, the authored CAP design file that you see here, and then finally we're going to import both of them together to see what the final result is there. All right, so I'm going to quickly go to my Internet Explorer. And so this is the KITS Collaborator, the KITS Web login page. Okay, now to access this page, Julie will put up a quick link in the chat box, just in case this is your first time logging in. But basically, all you need to do is visit the link below, kits.kits.com. Make sure that you include HTTPS exactly how you see it there in order for you to access the home page. And then once you're in the home page, all you need to do is click on Login. And this is the same credentials that you use to log in to your KITS mobile. So again, if you remember what your login information is, you can easily plug it in here. Or what you'll have to do is visit the initial email that we sent out with your credentials so that you can actually take your credentials and log in again. Okay, if you're like me, you've logged in once and you forgot about your password and your login information. So go ahead and visit that. In case you need help with your login credentials, you can always contact KITS support and they'll help you get that information. All right. Now the other thing that's important to understand here is that KITS Web is specifically made for Internet Explorer. So you can't use any other browsers like Chrome or Firefox to run the actual HTML program. It's authored for KITS for Internet Explorer, so make sure that once you have it loaded up and you're on the screen, you need to make sure that your compatibility settings are on, and you can easily visit that by clicking on the Settings tab over here, going into Compatibility View Settings, clicking that, and then making sure that this website has been added to Compatibility View. Okay? So just make sure that's included so that you can properly navigate KITS Web. All right. So this is, I guess we can call this the KITS Web home screen. And this is basically where you'll start off every time you log in. The idea with KITS Web, again, if you're new to KITS Web or if you're new to the KITS family, KITS Web is merely there to supplement what we do with KITS Mobile now. So again, this is a way for you to access AutoCAD files that were authored in the required or recommended spec tool, so that you can actually use it in your KITS mobile iPad device. So the first thing we're going to do here to start our project is we're going to click on Manage Projects. Okay, so once we're here, you get into your Manage Project screen, and you can see a list of all the projects that you've currently saved or created on your KITS Web account. Okay, now again, if this is your first time using KITS Web, you probably won't see any projects. Maybe the initial default project that you'll always get whenever your account is created. But if this is your first time using it, this is the screen where you're going to start off to create your project. So again, the Manage Project screen will allow you to start that project. All you need to do is click on Create Project. Once you create that project, you get into the My Project Details screen. And this is basically where you're going to fill in the information for the project that you want to create. So as a best practice, first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a project name, which I'm going to call DWG Import Demo. Okay? So before I click on Create Project, you can see here I have the ability to create from a DWG file. Again, based on the authored and recommended spec tools that are required for the DWG import, or I can specify from a SIF, or I can actually do both. Okay, don't worry about the description area here. Don't need to fill that out until you actually create your project. But again, the idea here is that you're going to use this tool just to import the actual DWG file so that you can actually validate it and work on your Kits mobile. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring in that CAD design project that I showed you earlier. I want to bring that in and import it into my Kits web. So I'm going to click on Browse. Located the folder where I've saved it. Here I have the 2020 CAD Designer DWG that I want to use, so I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click Open. Now you can see in the Browse box here, you can see that it's actually loaded the link to that DWG file. And now that I'm satisfied with everything that I want for this import, I'm going to go ahead and create project. All right, so what Kits begins to do right now is it begins to recognize the symbols that are found in this project. And as you can see here, it will load it up in a list that's going to be found on the right-hand side of this window that will indicate the zones. Now, these zones are defined basically by, I guess, the relative distance between furniture pieces. So the reason why it understands this as one zone is because it recognizes that these models are attached. Now, if these two were separated, and let's say there was roughly about a 3-foot space between, it will recognize that there are two zones. So again, these regions or these zones that are created are simply created by the distance of each furniture model that's found in the DWG file. Okay. Kits will also recognize any 2D symbols and 3D symbols that are associated with this DWG file. And as you can see here, again, we only are using a DWG file that contains 3D models. That's why it's recognizing that this particular model has 32 3D symbols and actually three 2D symbols. Now, these 2D symbols could be, let's say, items that don't have an actual 3D graphic associated with it. That is actually found in the root data of the manufacturer. So it could be most commonly like electrical pieces that are included for this particular project. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you select the zone and all the important parts or features that need to be included in this file. Now, in case you actually want to go through basically the requirements for a thorough AutoCAD DWG import, we do have webinars of the full import process. You can contact us, and we can actually send you a link to review that. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this box at the very top here, or I can click on each specific zone if it was listed. If I click on this box, you can see here it will automatically select all the boxes or lists, or it'll select the entire list underneath it. Okay, so right now I'm selecting this particular zone and all the components that are found in the zone for Kits to import. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. And what Kits begins to do is recognize all the items in there. It will actually prompt any kind of warning detailing any information regarding that actual model that you're importing in. So you can see here that it recognized that there are two structural options that are found within this particular model. And as Julia had mentioned before, that structural options will be recognized, but the specifications for it won't be. So basically, it recognizes that those two particular models have structural options that will have to be respecified when you actually bring that model into Kits Mobile. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and continue. And depending on the intricacy of the actual project, that will determine how quickly Kits is able to recreate the project that it's trying to import. So again, if you're creating a project that is, of a relatively larger size, then, again, you'll have to make sure that you stay on the screen, making sure that it downloads the model correctly. Okay. Now, again, another thing too is that what we're actually downloading is just the DWG, so any specifications that were created in CAP, because this was a CAP design project, won't be carried forward because, again, as I mentioned before, that attributable information is not created as a tagline for the models. So you'll have to re-specify it when you're in Kits Web or when you're actually in Kits Mobile. Okay, so now that it's completed, you can see here what I have is a grayscale image that populates. This is what we call the scene builder window. This gives you a nice thumbnail graphic of what's going to be found in the scene builder if you wish to take a look at it. Here, basically, what you can do is see a parts list of the entire project, as well the configured price of the project. Now, if you click on detail, you can actually see the project in more of a detail, listing basically all the specifications of the project. And you can see here that I have this red question mark beside each model, indicating that there are no specifications made for this particular project. So you can easily publish to mobile format. If I just click on that, what this does is it now connects to the cloud. It sends this project up to the cloud account, and it updates the cloud so that when I go to my Kits Mobile will recognize that there is a project that was created from my Kits web account that is now ready to be shared to my Kits Mobile. Okay, and as you can see here, it indicates that it was successfully copied. It successfully copied current project to mobile format. All right, now before I go to my Kits Mobile, what I want to do is I also want to do a separated SIF import. So I'm going to go back into Manage Projects. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Project. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to recreate the same project, but this time with a SIF import. So here, I'm just going to put in the project name. Import demo. And now I'm going to go to the Specify from SIF box. I'm going to find the SIF that was created. I'm going to open it, and now I'm going to create the project. And once I do that, you can see here what it actually asks me to do is to browse and find the SIF file name or the SIF file that was created for this particular project that I want to import. So I'm going to click on Browse. Again, I'm going to select that SIF. I'm going to go Open, and now I'm going to click on Import. Okay, and as you can see here in this window that's prompts up, it starts to list all the actual items that are found in that project. And you can see it's a much faster import process than importing the model, and that's because when you import the DWG model, Kits actually recognizes where those symbols are located in the project. So it's able to populate the 3D model as it's actually configured in the DWG. Regarding a SIF import, the SIF import, there actually isn't any indication of where the model or where the items are supposed to be configured in a layout. So here, again, we can look at a list. You can see that, again, you can recognize that I didn't get a grayscale image populated of the project. And again, that's because it doesn't understand where these parts are supposed to go. Even though it lists all the parts that are involved, if I go to details again, this time you see it a little differently because now you can see that there are no question marks and that I have the actual project fully specified as well as any pricing that was created for that particular project. So that's the main difference between what you see from the DWG import and what you get from a separated SIF import. Now, I'm just going to go to my scene builder here so you can understand basically what happens when you import just the SIF file. Okay. So you will need to make sure that your Java is updated, and sometimes you will get a Java window that will prompt for you to run Java. If you don't, then don't worry. But if you do see it, then make sure that you accept. And basically, what you'll get is the populated image of whichever file you synced or imported into your Kits Mobile or Kits Web. So here you can see that this is my scene builder, but for some reason, all the parts, and I'm just going to quickly take you through this. have been sort of placed in like a marching band format. And the reason why is because it doesn't recognize where these parts are supposed to be. That's why it's so important to, when you're importing any kind of file into Kits Web for Kits Mobile, that you import a DWG model and make sure that, again, the SIF that was created for it is also imported with it, so you get all specifications. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my Manage Projects. And if I really want to send this to my Kits Web, I can easily do so by going ahead and loading that into my Kits Mobile by clicking on Publish to Mobile. Sorry, I'm just going to get into that project. And now I'm just going to quickly publish this to a mobile format. Okay, again, the reason why I'm doing this is just so you can recognize the project as it's being sent to my Kits Mobile to see how it's populated in Kits Mobile as well. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to import both. Now, again, as I explained, this is really important because this is what's going to get you the completed specification and configuration of the layout that your design team created. So if you're working with the design team and you want them to send over that DWG file that's been specified by them, make sure that they create a SIF file to accompany that DWG file. Okay, so we're going to go to Manage Projects. And again, we're going to create project. And this time, we're going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Demo Import. Now I'm going to go ahead and find that DWG file, which is my 2020 CAP Designer file here. And now I'm also going to select that SIF file. All right, so now that I have both, I'm going to go ahead and create project. And just as you saw before, what Kits is doing is it's recognizing all the products that are in that zone. I'm going to make sure I click all the zones that are required. I'm going to go ahead and continue. And again, you can see there are those two items that have been indicated as structural options. But if the options were specified in the SIF file, what's actually going to happen is, as it's actually importing this file, it's going to load up those same specifications. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. And Kits is beginning to recreate the model, 3D model, as it's been configured in the 2020 file, as well as adding any kind of specifications that have been indicated that were in the SIF file. So here you can see that my project has been generated. Instead of the grayscale image that you saw when I imported just the DWG file, I actually get a nice specified image showing and indicating the specifications of the model configured. Okay, and below, again, the same parts list. And again, if I click on detail, this time it lists all the items that have been fully specified. Okay, and you can even see here that it recognizes all the specifications, because at the very bottom, I have one particular specification that indicates that the option has not been selected. So here, what we can do with this particular item is when we actually access it in Kits Mobile, we can actually specify it there for our client. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this to mobile format. And let's verify that it's complete so that we can actually continue on into the Kits Mobile. Okay, again, what Kits Web is actually doing here is it's accessing the Kits cloud. It's sending this particular project up to the cloud so that we can now connect to the cloud through our Kits mobile device and sync that down to our Kits mobile collaborator or Kits collaborator mobile. All right. So here you can see that the project has been successfully copied to my mobile format. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue on into Kits mobile. Okay, great. So here you can see I have my Kits mobile. Now you don't see that the notification bell indicating any project, and that's because my Kits app was currently open when these were shared. So if I actually click or tap on sync, you can see here that KITS is now retrieving synchronization status. What that actually means is it's connecting to our cloud, and it's trying to find anything that has been updated for our account for updating. That could be any particular catalogs that we have access to. That could be any shared projects or any projects created in KITS Web that were now published to our KITS Mobile. So I'm just going on my project gallery screen here so you can actually see that. And you can see at the notification bell that I now have a number 1 appearing on the bell. If I tap on that, you can see that I now have accepted shared projects that have not yet been synced down to my device. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on Sync Now so that KITS can begin to retrieve those particular projects and sync them to my iPad. Okay. Now the difference between a shared project and a published project from your KITS web account is that your KITS web account will access your cloud account directly, so that you don't have to go into your email to accept the share. However, if a peer is sharing a project with you, you'll have to actually accept that share by visiting your email and visiting the email that was sent to you, so that it can actually send that project that was shared to you to your cloud account. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. So let's go and click on Projects to get to the Project Gallery screen. And now what you can see here is I have the 3 projects that were imported. And you see here with the SIF import, it doesn't show me an image. And remember, that's because we didn't have an image in our scene builder or in the thumbnail area in the KITS web. Again, let's click on the very first one that we created. You can see that it's fully configured. However, there are no specifications indicated in this project. And then if we go to the SIF import demo, you can see here that all the items were just placed dead center in the floor grid. So what you'll have to do here is basically move them all out to re-specify your project. Obviously, that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that it's configured completely. So, you know, if you have a DWG file, I always suggest, if that's the only file you have, go ahead and import that. If you don't have a DWG file and you have a SIF, you know, it's always great to use a SIF as well, because at least you don't have to add all the items that are required for the project. They're there. You just have to reconfigure them. Okay. And lastly, let's go right into the last import we did, and there you have it. There's your complete AutoCAD import file. Comes fully specified. I'm pretty satisfied with this. I can go ahead and create that wonderful rendering. I can create that quick sheet. I can go into list view, and I can validate that all the items have been specified. And anything that is missing a specification, we can simply specify it right here. And you can see here that the work surface bracket kit hasn't been specified. I can double tap in that line item box. And now I can go ahead and select whatever finish I need, whatever it is for this particular project. I'm going to say 30D. I can close that. And now you can see that my project has now been fully specified, and I'm ready to continue on with my client. All right. And that's pretty much it, everyone. We've now covered importing a DWG and SIF file, and basically how you can access that by importing into your KITS web for you to access in your KITS mobile device. All right, so you're now that much closer to becoming that supercharged power user and hopefully our next collaborator.